From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Don't try to take this from me. Don't try to take this from me now.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan Hajavandi with Corey Clark. We're part of the WarChant.com family. If you're not part of our family, the War Chant family, use the promo code WarChant30. That'll get you 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source. Corey, you're here. It's Friday. Gosh, I feel so good. You feel good? I feel good.
I mean, I feel all right. I feel okay. It's always nice to be here on a Friday. The weekend, we made another weekend. We're all one day closer to death, but we're also one day closer to the weekend. We actually made it, folks. We're one day closer to football.
So you can't eat Zaxby's. Well, I can't replicate the joy that is Zaxby's by talking. I can tell you to go there on your lunch break, folks. By the way, I did send out the vouchers on Thursday morning, so hopefully our over-under winners from last week will receive it in time to enjoy some Zaxby's this weekend. We'll lay out our over-unders here shortly for this coming week. But, you know, it brings great joy to me, good food. And I know for a lot of people that listen to this program, they want good news, hope, optimism. So this isn't sponsored by Zaxby's, but it might as well be. It's indescribably good. This comes from FSU 91, which in case if you're not part of the WarChant.com family, folks, on the Tribal Council, FSU 91 pretty much is like if you go on like a field trip, Corey, like someone needs to make sure all the kids are accounted for. Like that's FSU 91's job. Like he is the scholarship gatekeeper. Always keeps tabs of the amount of guys we have on scholarship and has a pretty good depth chart always ready to go. He's impressive.
Well, okay. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but let's hear it. Let's
Okay.
get some receipts on this.
All right, guys, did you know that Virginia has not scored more than 34 offensive points against a Power 5 opponent under Bronco Mendenhall? They had 34 on Duke a few years ago, 33 against Georgia Tech a few years ago. They had 40 overall, but there was a non-offensive touchdown. Virginia had 31 points twice, had 30 against Pitt last year, but all three touchdowns were on short fields following a blocked punt, an interception, and a turnover on downs at the end of the game. Up 23-14 with less than a minute left, Virginia scored. Not a very nice move. Anyway, I think Virginia scores more than 34, but they have no history of doing it under Bronco. Lastly, they only scored 38 offensive points last week against lowly Bill and Mary. That's William and Mary for you folks that aren't on the inside joke. Their quarterback had a bad game. So there you go. I mean, Kendall Browse will roll 40 out there. Let's go.
I mean, I guess my counter to that would be how many times has Louisiana Monroe scored over 38 points against a Power 5 opponent before Saturday?
Corey, I'm trying.
All right. All right. Hey, I think this is just a different level of bad for this defense, but it also might have just been a 2-game blip. They're actually okay. They're actually average. They can get themselves to average, and it starts this weekend in Charlottesville. That's what I'm hoping for, baby. That's what I'm hoping for. They can't be terrible every game.
No.
They just can't be.
No.
They're going to have a couple of decent games. Last year's defense had a couple of decent games. A couple of good games, actually. The 2009 defense, which I thought was the worst I'd ever seen, they had a couple they had a couple of okay games. They did some things in a few games to at least keep them competitive. So, come on, man. Come on, kids. Rally up.
It's all you need with Kendall's offense, just some okay-ish defense. Just give us some okay-ish defense, Jim Leavitt. The Golden Goose.
Okay defense, you got a chance to win. Average defense, you got a chance to win.
Right. So he landed. He's here. We made visual confirmation. I think Tim Linnefelt of Seminoles.com fame actually captured him on film. But Jim Leavitt is in Tallahassee. We did speak to Willie on Thursday morning and his final availability before the game. I don't know if you had a chance to turn around and listen to it, Corey. We're recording this a little bit earlier in the day than usual. I know you're busy, but we did speak to Willie. And I don't know, Willie, when he feels good about things, like he's not shy to let you know. He walks tall, swaggers, things of that nature. Very sort of subdued, chilled out. We asked him several questions about Jim Leavitt. He quickly lost interest. At one point, I asked him a question about, I think I don't know, something about, I guess what can you really expect him to, not in this tone, but just, what are the expectations of what he can do? And he just went total Belichick and was like, Virginia's got a good quarterback. We hope to contain the quarterback. It'll be a good game. Like, he didn't want to talk about it. So I don't know if you were able to listen to the interview and maybe share some thoughts you had on it, or just, any updated things you want to talk about in regards to
It's a weird spot for Willie to be in, because you don't want to act like this guy's the miracle that came into town to save everyone. Everybody's dying of the plague, and the doctor with the medicine rolls into town. You can't act like that, because number one, it might not be true, and also you got other guys on your staff that have been here for 2 years. That all this, so you don't want to give all this attention to the one guy that's been here for 14 minutes, as opposed to the guys that have been on your staff for this whole time. So I think that's the main thing, man. And he's a quality control assistant, so it's weird to talk at length about him anyway. About how like he might have a huge role in the stuff we're not seeing, even though he's not really supposed to. But Willie can't talk about it like that. Like, oh yeah, he's going to completely change our defense. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. I don't think the head coach really wants to talk about something like that. He just wants to say, yeah, it's a good addition, sure, but doesn't want to put too much stock in it, maybe. Right, for our purposes anyway. You know what I mean? Like, even if Jim Leavitt is the de facto defensive coordinator right now, he's not going to tell us that.
Right. Very good point. Some of the other news that came down on Thursday was an updated depth chart. However, it was delivered to us in the media probably about 45 minutes or so after Willie had spoken to us, so we weren't able to ask him follow-up questions. But the depth chart does have some changes on it, most notably defense. One of the inside linebacker positions now is a three-man race, apparently. They have Emmett Rice listed, or Dontavius Jackson, or Jaleel McRae at one of those inside linebacker spots. The other one remains the same. Jaden Lars-Woodby, projected starter, with DeKalen Brooks backing him up. That seems, I would have thought that maybe Jaleel would have been the first guy listed. Again, this isn't in alphabetical order. It says, player 1 or player 2 or player 3. So I don't know how much there is to read into things, but I would imagine this at least means that we won't see as much D-Jack as we possibly did the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time he's had oars behind him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that to me says that, he's not going to get the amount of playing time that he was getting. The other two kids will be on the field more. Jaleel McRae will be on the field more. I don't quite understand what's going on at the other inside linebacker position. I know Barnett said what he said on Wednesday, that Woodby's playing really well. In his words, he's doing everything they want him to do. I just can't fathom that that's true. And I would think that if you like what Emmett Rice and Jaleel McRae are giving you, which I'm not saying you do, but if you do, if they're practicing well, maybe you could get them both on the field at the same time and have those two starters. You know what I mean? That's just odd to me that you're still going to go with a really small kid in that role, whether it's Woodby or Brooks. You're going to go with an undersized linebacker in that role. That just they do not take on blocks. They don't seem to diagnose things real well right now. But again, we don't see what they look like in practice, man. Maybe they're, and I say this legitimately, like I have a son right now who's struggling a little bit hitting. And I know it's 11-year-old baseball. It's not college football. But he's struggling hitting in games.
This is important. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So he's struggling in games. But when I pitch to him, he rips the ball. He absolutely crushes the ball. But in games, he's still got some bad habits as far as wanting to hit the ball so much that he's leaning forward, like he's coming out of his shoes almost. In practice, he's kind of calm. He lets the ball come to him, and then he just smokes it. But in games, he's out in front because he's so anxious to go hit the ball. So he's got to be able to transfer what he's doing with me and what he's doing with his coaches in practice to what he's doing in games. And maybe that's what they see in Woodby, is like in practice, he's really doing well. It just hasn't quite translated yet to the actual football games. And maybe they know that it's coming. There's a chance that's happening. I don't know. So we'll see. Again, Saturday night's going to tell us an awful lot, Aslan. Saturday night's going to be a big litmus test, as I like to say.
Brady, let's close the eyes. Let's take a deep breath when we're out there with Dad taking hacks. And let's pretend we're in the box in a meaningful at-bat. We got to practice how we're going to play. Let's not be loose when we're with Dad. Let's pretend that this is a real pitch game situation so that when we step in that batter's box, on the hollowed grounds, in Decula and Buford, Georgia, that we're ready to attack these moments. It's what it's all about. It's like when I golf. I would go on the driving range. I would just whack the ball. But you need to approach the ball. You need to set up to the ball the way you would when it's in the fairway, eye the pin down the way you would when you're in the fairway, and then go for it. So I got faith in you, Bray. You're going to pull through this, man.
Or maybe go into the games like I'm pitching to you.
Or that. Pretend the guy.
Just don't care. That's what I try to tell him is like, man, just go in there and know that you're a good hitter. Because I throw hard to him. I'm like, dude, if you can hit me throwing almost as hard as I can, not that I throw hard anymore, and you're hitting me just fine, none of these kids are going to get you out by just throwing it by you. So just go up there and know you can hit. But, it still hasn't quite – it's coming around, though. It's coming around, Aslan. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Hey, can I mention something real quick before we get to the I just saw it on Twitter. That's why I wanted to – have you seen the whole story with the kid that was bullied wearing the Tennessee shirt?
No, I've seen tweets about a shirt that has a design from is this the young man? Apparently he got bullied.
I bring it up because he's a Florida kid, and then apparently on Thursday, so he went to school. It was like College Colors Day, and he's a Tennessee fan. Apparently, I think he's an elementary kid. He's a Tennessee fan that doesn't have a Tennessee shirt, so he wore an orange shirt, and then on white notebook paper wrote a U and a T, a U period, T period, and put it on the front of his chest. It looks ridiculous. If you see the picture, the initial Facebook story that got it all rolling was the teacher that helped him put the UT on his chest. Uh-huh. And I want to say this first, is that it's turned into a great little story. Like, he just got offered a 4-year scholarship to Tennessee. Like, literally, the University of Tennessee has talked to his mom and said that if he wants to come to Tennessee in a few years when he's eligible, he has a 4-year scholarship. They sold a ton. Tennessee sent him 1,000 pieces of equipment or whatever, either shirts, all the memorabilia you'd want. They sent him everything. They sent him, probably $1,000 worth of stuff. Tennessee is now selling shirts that look like the one he wore. So it's really become a nice story out of not a great one. But my problem, I guess, and this is old man Corey Clark, is they don't name the people that, quote unquote, bullied him. But he went to lunch that day, and some girls in the lunchroom, I guess, made fun of his shirt. Which, I mean, if you're in the 5th or 6th grade and you see a kid wearing a piece of notebook paper taped to his shirt, wouldn't 95% of kids go like, man, what are you wearing? Like, if Ira walked into a press conference wearing a Baltimore Orioles shirt, but it wasn't an Orioles shirt. It was him. It was an orange shirt, and he had drawn a picture of a bird and then stapled it to his shirt. Would we not all say, man, what are you wearing?
He's a
what
grown
is
man.
that?
He's not a child. It's a child.
But I guess it's like it's okay. I mean, it's great. It's turned into a great story, but if you see the picture, it does look kind of ridiculous. Yeah. And I guess my point is I don't know what was said. Maybe they really laid into the kid, and that's obviously not fair. But if a 5th or 6th grade girl was like, "What are you wearing, Jerry?" I just say Jerry because of Jeff Cameron. What are you wearing, Jerry? Because no way there's a 5th grade kid named Jerry. Why would you? What do you have taped to your shirt? That's ridiculous looking. I don't necessarily think that's bullying. Sometimes kids wear crazy things and they get made fun of. That's life. That's kind of teaching people. Anyway, I don't know. I just thought it was when you see the shirt, you're like, man, I could see Corey Clark in the 5th grade being like, Tommy, what in the world, dude? Take that off. You look ridiculous. I'll go buy. So anyway, just thought because there's real bullying, and trust me, I have a kid that's in the 6th grade, and you hear stories. There's still real bullying that goes on, and I hope it all gets eradicated. But I don't know if making fun of a kid's shirt like that is necessarily bullying. But again, I don't know the whole story. It wasn't as, I guess my point is, you remember the Travis Rudolph thing?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, that was awesome. That was incredible. That was a really, really neat moment. this was like, I don't know. I'm glad it turned into this. It's really neat that Tennessee is doing this for him. But yeah, I don't know that I completely I don't know that those people are awful. Like I saw this, the reason I bring it up, the story I saw called that whole table a table full of mean girls. And it's like, man, they're 5th grade kids. That's what you make fun of kids. If you don't, I hate it. I wish they were all be like, hey man, good try. That's awesome. But that's human nature. Let's not vilify them and make them to be awful people because this kid stapled a piece of paper to a shirt.
As we continue here on the volunteer shift, I'm Maiden alongside Caden. So, do we keep Pruitt if we can't beat Chattanooga?
Absolutely not. By the way, he's like, you talk about somebody that should be in trouble, right?
Yes.
I mean, because he's, remember that, like his first spring game, he was ripping into the fans for not selling out the place.
Right.
And he's such a hard person to like. He is. And he compared the thing to the Titanic. Like he's had some real missteps here on top of them not being any good. And with that schedule, I mean, they still got Florida, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, they have a real chance of being 4-8 again. And, I don't know. Hey, I tell you what, he'd be a pretty good DC back in Tallahassee if Jim Leavitt doesn't work out.
Yeah. So back to the linebackers 9 minutes ago, what we were talking about.
Sorry.
Dontavius Jackson had 62 snaps against Louisiana Monroe. He had 71 the week before, so I would imagine that's going to cut into those numbers quite substantially. Also, Jalen Lars would be not only for starters, but for the entire defense was the lowest graded player against Louisiana Monroe. His overall grade was 40.7.
Was he really?
Yeah, although they list him on Pro Football Focus, they said that his position was strong safety. So I don't know if maybe they think he's a safety, but he's really playing linebacker, so that affects the way they grade him. But his run defense, they graded him at 33.9. That was the lowest on the team. His tackling was 78.2, which was actually one of the higher numbers. But
how many plays did he have?
77. Looks like he and Hamsa played every single snap.
I mean, he literally doesn't come off and he had 89 in the first game. He literally does not come off the field. So, I mean, it's Pro Football Focus. It's not the gospel necessarily. It's a good
tool.
It's a good barometer, but it's not the gospel. Harlan Barnett says the guy's playing really well. He obviously wouldn't run him down in front of us, but it is odd that he's talked so highly of him on Wednesday. And then he doesn't have any oars below his name, and they're not moving those guys behind him. It's like he's just got that job on lockdown, and through 2 games, other than picking up a couple of almost near fumbles, I don't remember him doing anything at all.
Yeah. Also of note, not reflected on the depth chart, Juwan Williams remains listed as first-team left tackle, but Willie did tell us that he will not be playing against Virginia on Saturday. He's still in a boot on his left foot. I imagine Abdul Bello probably slides back in there. I mean, they played most of this game last week without Juwan, so not the worst sort of news, not the most encouraging stuff either, but that's a bit of a bummer. Let me see here real quick. Abdul played 86 snaps last Saturday, so Juwan played 10.
Did he really?
Yeah, Juwan played 10. Bello played 86. Ryan Roberts
I didn't
all.
Realize they had 96 plays.
Yeah, Roberts played all of them. Brady Scott played 93. Those are your leaders.
How'd Bello do?
Bello graded out better than Bavion.
Okay.
Third to last. Bavion second to last. Keith Gavin.
Third to first, too. You mean third to last in the whole offense?
Yeah. So Bello, 31.9 in pass blocking, which is substantially better than Ryan Roberts. Ryan Roberts graded out at 12.2. And then run blocking, Bello, 54.6. So,
I mean, those are better numbers than what he was throwing up last year, but not by much, and they're still not good at all. And now he's going up against a pretty strong defense. So, pray for Abdul Bello. Maybe he'll turn it around and have a nice game.
They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they scored a touchdown in overtime. He was in there. He was 70 reps into it all, man.
I mean, that was Louisiana Monroe, buddy.
It's Virginia. I mean,
I
you
mean,
listen
what's
to
it-
you listen to FSU 91. It's Virginia. Relax. I mean, Howie Long ain't walking through that door. Tiki Barber ain't
He
walking
didn't
through
play
that
at Virginia.
door. He didn't? His sons
He
did.
played at Villanova. The
Oh,
Sons
that's
did,
right, yeah.
or the one son did, but Howie played at Villanova.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Tiki Barber ain't walking through that door.
Absolutely.
Rondé Barber ain't walking through
Ahmad Brooks ain't walking through that door.
They had a good running back. They played for the Jets. Name escapes me. But, yeah.
Oh, it
those
was,
guys-
what's his name? Not Pierman.
Yeah. Pierman.
Alvin Pierman?
Cedric Pierman.
Oh, all right.
Is that
Who was
one, Mark?
Alvin Pierman?
I don't know.
Man, they had Tiki and, by the way, Rondé Barber. I watch a lot of the Bucks game on Sunday, and he was the
gosh.
broadcaster.
Yeah.
Man, he's rough. He's rough to listen to, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad for his partner. That guy seems pretty good, but Rondé,
Kenny
golly,
Albert.
just does not shut up.
Yeah, it's Kenny Albert, I think. Marv's son.
That's right.
So those are the
By
changes.
the way, I think going back to the UT thing real quick. I just think it
Corey,
was entrapment
stop.
almost.
Corey, please
It was-
stop.
It was just it felt like entrapment.
Corey.
Like I'm going to wear something crazy, and then I'm going to hope people don't make fun of me, and when they do, I'm going to call them bullies, even though I'm wearing something crazy. Anyway, felt a little bit like entrapment to me for those kids. But he got a 4-year scholarship to Tennessee out of it, so he won.
My favorite part is in the midst of all this, you mentioning this story, and you said you saw it on Twitter. I went and looked at your Twitter to see if you had retweeted something, and I didn't, but I did scroll down and see a tweet you made earlier in the week that this day would have been my father's 77th birthday. In honor of that number, here's 77 things I loved about having him as a dad. Here's tweet 1 out of 77. But
That was funny, right?
And then you're like, that's a joke. That's
I figured
great.
people are like,
That's
oh, gosh, it's
amazing.
cool when he tweets about his dad, but I can't read 77 things.
That's amazing. Oh man, that was good stuff, Corey. You're a gem. You're a
Thanks,
gem.
buddy. Thanks, buddy.
All right, so Florida State's going to take on Virginia 7:30. It's on ACC Network. Corey nor I will have it on in our homes. We'll have to find somewhere to watch it. Corey, I think you probably have a better plan than I do. I'm either going to have to rip off the 7-day trial on one of these YouTube TV Hulu things, or brave it up and go watch a game in public, which just sounds horrible to me.
Yeah, the
Especially 'cause I
problem,
have
though,
no
if you
friends up
stream
here.
it, though, you're going to be like a minute and a half behind. So you can't be on Twitter.
Yeah. No, you're right. Golly, man. Yeah, this is a bummer. Yeah.
Luckily, I have two options. I have a buddy of mine who has charter cable up here in the Atlanta area, and they do get it. And then my sister has DirecTV, so they get it too. So I have two options where I can go on a Saturday night.
Okay. Very well.
Not my house, though. AT&T U-verse. Not doing it. Don't want to do it. Don't need the ACC network, apparently. And Comcast, cool. This is fun. This is awesome for Florida State fans. I mean, maybe it's the right season to not be able to watch this team. But still, man, we don't talk about it enough or at all, really, but it's ridiculous that people living in Tallahassee, the cable there would not be an ACC network without the school in Tallahassee. There would not be. It certainly wouldn't be getting the money that it's going to be getting eventually. And the people there can't watch the team unless they sign up for flipping Hulu Plus. Great. That's a great option. That's wonderful. Thanks for taking care of us, ACC. The people that made this network, made this conference, propelled this thing to a network because this ball got rolling when Florida State was really good at football. And they're usually pretty good at football, but they were really good when this ball got rolling on the ACC network. And they're one of the marquee properties in this conference. They kept it afloat financially with all the football they won. So in all this, now you can't watch it. Everybody else, people in Atlanta can watch it. They got options. People up and down the Eastern Seaboard, all those huge Syracuse fans in New York City can watch it. But the people in Tallahassee, Florida, no, sorry. Figure it out. Get Hulu Plus or get YouTube Premium or go to a friend's house or go to a sports bar. We got nothing for you.
What would be like the quietest? I wonder where I could go that would just be absolutely dead. Because I don't want the rambunctiousness. I'll have to figure that out.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, I posted this funny little video about Ira from the War Chant Report. Got some pretty decent traction on Twitter, and I've been getting a bunch of notifications on it, so I thought that was continuing to go on into Wednesday and into Thursday. But I'd watched SportsCenter on Wednesday and tweeted out that Trevor Maddich put Virginia on upset alert because Florida State's had some strong first halves. He said if Florida State can, quote, stop sticking their own foot in their own ear, they'll be a handful for 4 quarters. That got like 207 likes, which for me is a big deal, Corey. People still believe it. I don't know if this happened post-Leavitt or pre-Leavitt where everybody started liking this. A new sense of belief, it feels like, or is it just being
I don't know. Maybe they're liking it to make fun of Maddich. If it doesn't happen, they can retweet it. And they have it in their likes, so that it's easy for them to find.
Cold takes exposed.
Yeah, something like that. So, but yeah, man. Hey, that there is a reason it's only whatever it is, an 8-point spread. That when I saw that, I was like, that seemed really, really low to me. It still seems low to me.
Stinky.
But man, Vegas usually knows what they're doing, so maybe it will be a 10-point game. Maybe Florida State wins this thing. I'm really. I said it about Boise, but season openers are always so different. They're just different. They feel different. There's the off season of optimism and hope, and so they're just a different animal than every other game on the schedule. This one is just an enormous game for Willie Taggart. An enormous game because we've already talked about it. But if they go out there and get just completely blown away, get their doors blown off. No matter who's on the staff, I feel like the season is in a deep downward spiral. But if they go and win, then it could flip the whole script, man. Then all of a sudden these kids have had some success, there's something to build on. They've actually enjoyed some success under this new head coach, and maybe they start to believe a little more. And maybe they go out and win their next 2 home games, and all of a sudden you're looking at a 4-1 team going into Clemson, and their one loss was a game they led by 18 points. So you start to feel pretty darn good about the trajectory of this program all of a sudden, even after the debacle of Saturday night against Louisiana Monroe. Another game they led by 21 points. If they can somehow go up there and win, and it's ridiculous to have to say somehow win in the context of playing Virginia football, but if you can somehow win that game, then I think you feel good. I think if you lose close, you might feel okay about yourself, or you might completely cash in your chips too. I don't think a close loss, I'm not sure what to make of that. A big loss, I know what to make of it. And a win, I think I know what to make of it. But a close loss is something where I think it could still go either way the following few weeks.
Okay. I totally forgot we had all these questions that we didn't get to yesterday.
Oh, yeah, and we got the over-under.
Yeah, so we did a really bad job of playing. It's my bad. Let's get back to
some
of
it's my fault. I went on to the Tennessee rant.
It's never your fault. Magnol 5, practice after these 2 debacles is soft. I would have tackling drills until midnight if that's what it took. Take these players to the woodshed. Don't come back until you have a clear understanding of what tackling is all about. For example, take a page out of the USA hockey practices as they prepare to beat the Russians. Do you believe in miracles? I'm saying Florida State 27, Virginia 23. Magnol 5 out. All right.
What was his score? What did he say?
27-3 or 27-23 Florida State.
Okay, I like the belief. Holding them to 23 points would be an incredible feat. And again, I don't think Virginia's offense is the best thing in the world. I think it's just probably an average ACC offense. I just assume it's good. I think it's better than Boise State. I think that quarterback is really good. He's dynamic, although he's, I guess, a little hurt. He's got a little knee injury. He's not 100% anyway.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I read that in Broncos press conference. He's not quite 100%. He's got some knee issues, but he's still going to be much, much better than the 2 kids they've already played. And I assume that offense is going to be more physical than the 2 offenses they've already played, and they did not handle either one of those well at all. So it's just going to be a really big challenge.
Renegade 1997, wake up interested in how the practices look. Compared to Jimbo, I'd assume Willie's practices are far more lenient and disorganized. Are the players loafing, cutting up, unfocused, disorganized during practices? You fight like you train, so I'd assume the practices look like a circus because FSU has looked like a bunch of clowns. Wow, this is strong, except for a handful of players. You all do excellent work. Thanks for making my run enjoyable in the morning. I've never saw Jimbo's practices.
Have you ever run in the morning?
From the cops?
Did you ever go through a phase where you were a runner?
No, never. No, I'm terrible at running.
Those people are, God bless them.
Yeah,
I mean, more power to you. I take Brady to school, and I see these people out jogging at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, and I'm like, holy moly, what a life. What a life. Yeah. I mean, that's how you're supposed to treat your body, probably. Your body loves that stuff.
Love your body.
So good on them to do it. Good on you. Way to do it. Sleep is cool too, though.
Somebody mentioned this on one of the threads. We haven't seen null drill in a few weeks. They've gone to this 4-on-4 thing where it's 3 linemen on 3 linemen, then a running back, linebacker kind of coup de grace showdown at the end of it. I do wonder why they aren't doing, if this is an important drill for establishing something of semblance to Saturday performance, you could easily be doing 3 of these at a time. I haven't been bothered by it, but somebody mentioned that, and I guess we're just at the point where everything is open to scrutiny. It doesn't bother me. Lots of stuff does. This is one of the things
you're saying
does.
like you could have 3 different sessions of it going on, so everybody's getting a rep.
Yeah, come on, let's go. I mean, this is important. This is about instilling toughness, instilling physicality, a mindset of domination, if you will. Why are we watching, 8 guys when there's 75 others? Just it doesn't look unfocused or disorganized to me. I didn't like the cackling last week. That rubbed me the wrong way. When guys were cackling and howling. But I guess, they just got done warming up. For the guys that aren't actually going to be participating in this drill, it probably isn't a big deal because they're not having to jump in the fire. So they're just kind of having some fun before the real stuff begins. So never saw any of Jimbo's practices. I don't know if Jimbo really would do anything that much more intense, but it does sound like he liked to yell a lot. I haven't really seen people get yelled at a lot in the amount of practice I've seen from Willie and company.
He definitely, it was definitely louder around the practice fields, and most of it was reserved for the quarterbacks, but not all of it. Especially if a receiver screwed up and made his quarterback look bad, he screamed at the receiver. He screamed at the tight ends, the line. They didn't need to be screamed at by him because they had the other guy that was screaming at him. But so it was much louder. Yeah, when you watch them, when I think about them side by side, especially this year, last year I will say it was different, in my opinion. I thought that it was a little more there was a lot more standing around than there was at a Jimbo practice. Jimbo had, when they were scrimmaging, when they were going 1s versus 1s, well, the 2s versus 2s were going on the other field, and it was always something. You certainly didn't see that last year. There was a lot of standing around while coaches kind of talk to the starters. And that I don't think that's the case this year. So I think the practices have gotten better, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And the defensive side, to me, looks just like it's about the exact same. It's kids going through drills, a lot of them. So, I think they got more reps in the Jimbo practice. But, again, at the end of the year, at the end of his tenure, that yelling and screaming wasn't doing a whole lot. It was just going in their ears and out the other ears. It wasn't mattering so much. And the reason they were really good in 13 and 14, it wasn't because they practiced. It's not like they practiced any different in 2017 than they did in 2013. It's just they had much, much, much better players.
Hey, let's take a break in the new over-under, and then we'll get to the rest of these questions.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Knolls since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Welcome back. It's Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. Corey Clark here as well. All right, let's get to the over-under. Sorry, I probably should have done this first before diving into the questions. Corey, let's get to it. Cam Akers touches from scrimmage. 32 over under. Also, by the way, to remind everybody at home, Corey is currently 6-8 on the season. Your guy Aslan 10-4.
Man, that's Willie Taggart's record. I'm Willie Taggart's record right now. This is ridiculous. You're Jimbo's first year.
Woo!
If you want to know the comparison of what kind of start we've had in over under, I'm Willie Taggart early on in his tenure at Florida State, and Aslan's Jimbo Fisher. Now, Aslan's not doing great, but he's doing pretty good, and he's certainly doing better than I am. I would say under. That's a lot of touches. You can't give it. I mean, this kid's gonna. You just can't do that. You can't be giving this kid the ball 30 times a game. You got number 4. I think is a pretty talented dude. Let him get some touches as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a homecoming of sorts for Kalen, right? Virginia Beach. I mean, same state. Maybe they'll give him a little more reps, and some family will be in the stands. I'll take the under on that as well. Florida State personal fouls committed 1.5. Corey.
Under.
Ooh. Yeah.
What'd they have last week? 3, 4?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, one. Yeah.
Now, would you call? So I guess like what Akeem Dent did.
Anything that's 15 yards. I mean, anything. I mean, yeah, you get personal foul, unsportsmanlike, personal foul, unnecessary roughness.
Well, but on sport, it's okay. All right.
Unsportsmanlike is still a personal foul, isn't it? Because it's like
I don't know. I don't know the exact definition of it. I just to me, there's a difference between what Dontavius did and what Akeem Dent did. Just actually ran into or didn't know the kid fair caught a punt, right. So he just tackled him.
Well, it's still focused.
But I guess it's intent. I guess it's a personal foul. So yeah, and roughing the punter is a personal foul. I'm still staying under. I think they learned their lesson. Man. I'm saying under.
I'm gonna say over.
Okay.
Just because, if this thing doesn't go well, maybe somebody loses their mind. James Blackman, passing yards, 250. I'm going to take the over. Come on, man. Why does nobody respect my guy?
Yeah, I'm going over that too. Okay. I mean, it might be like empty yards late, some empty scores late maybe. But, yeah, he's definitely good. As long as he's healthy, I can't imagine he doesn't get over 250.
By the way, everybody, do submit your over-under picks on the thread on Tribal Council on warchant.com or the tweet that I'll make, and the top 5 folks, again, will win either 5 free chicken fingers or a Zalad to participating locations in Tallahassee, Marianna, Thomasville, and Douglas, Georgia. Time of possession for Florida State, 25 minutes, 30 seconds, Corey Clark. Over, under.
Under.
I don't even know, I guess. I don't even know, that. I have no concept of what that means. I can envision the way a game playing out, but I can't envision what my time of possession would be,
My thought is, they did go slow. I didn't realize they ran 96 plays. That's a ton. I guess that
overtime
counted for a little bit for overtime too. So they probably ran 90 plays in the 90 plays in the real game is a lot. Yeah. They did slow it down a lot at times in that game on Saturday, and I think they'll slow it down a lot this week too. You can't go as fast with crowd noise anyway. These offenses always are a little bit slower on the road, so it's not that I think they'll just be running up down the field and having 1-minute drives. It's just that Virginia, I think, is going to have the ball a whole lot. I think Virginia will probably have a lot of 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 2s, and then that quarterback's going to scramble for a first down and keep the drive going. That's how I envision it going. Plus, I think Virginia holds on to the ball a lot.
3rd down conversions for Virginia. Will they convert on 55% of their 3rd downs? Under or over 55%?
Under. That's a lot. 55% is a good. I don't even think. What was Boise? Wasn't even 55%. Were they? Or were they right at 55? 10 out of 19. I can't do the math. That's close to 55%, but I think it's a little under.
Monroe was 6 of 15, so I'll take the under.
All right. Yep.
Last one, official points, 58. Total points scored, 58 over under. I'll take the over. Pound the over. I'm an over guy.
What was it again?
58.
For what?
Total points scored. What are you laughing about it now? You're taking all this time. Good grief. You're like, well,
I'm trying to think of the score in my head, and I can't get the score in my head. But it's got to be over. I feel like Virginia is going to score 40. I hope I'm wrong, kids. I hope I'm wrong. But I think Virginia is going to score over 40, and I think this offense can put up at least 3 or 4 touchdowns as well.
Actually, maybe I should have taken the under after FSU 91 told us about the fact their penchant for not scoring big points. Anyhow. Hey, before we get to some of these other questions, I did want to some folks have questions about, what Jim Leavitt cannot do as an analyst. I reached out to one of my guys at an SEC program to get some sort of insight. So obviously, as people know, you cannot do hands-on instruction during a game or at practice. You can attend practice, you can watch practice, you can be out there, but you can't grab, Emmett Rice's wrist and show him where to place his hand when he's trying to, shed a block or whatever. What he can do during the games, and this is kind of the interesting thing with Harlan Barnett being in the box, the NCAA bylaws allow one non-coach, so that means your analyst, quality control guy, one of them can be on a headset, but it's a listen-only headset, which means it doesn't have a microphone. So basically when you're at the Midtown offices, Corey, and you've got that headset with the microphone built on, it's just like that, but there's no microphone. So he can listen to everything that's going on, but he can't communicate on the headset. What he can do is he can tell.
Can he write things down and pass them down
Absolutely.
to someone else?
He doesn't have to write the note down. He can say it out loud. And he can be sitting right next to Harlan Barnett, who was in the box last week, and we assume will probably be in the box on Saturday night, and can literally tell Harlan, hey, man, fit this run gap, blitz here. I mean, he can say the stuff out loud, and Harlan can radio it down to Mark and be like, call it in, show this look. He can do that. Halftime, he can go into the coach's office and talk to them about what they want to do and make their adjustments and stuff. So the hands-on stuff, which I guess at this point, I don't know what's more valuable, him doing hands-on stuff in practice or him calling the plays. But he can do that. He can do that. So that's that. Back to the questions, or did you want to share something, Corey? You sound like you had a contemplative sigh. I don't want to.
No, are we done with the over-unders?
Yeah, that was it, man. Yeah,
we did 7 of them?
4, 5. I think he only gave us 6 this week.
Oh, okay. All right.
Then we could double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's what he did.
That gives me one less chance to catch up with you. Well, so I see how it is. You're kind of going into the 4 corners.
All right. What do you want? You want me to throw one out there?
No. It's Gene's thing. We can't improvise now.
No. Here we go.
Thing.
I'm adding it. This is just for you and I. No one else is involved in this one. I'm going to say 1.5 shots of Jim Leavitt during the telecast.
But do we know for sure he's going to be there?
Well, if he's not, then it's off the board.
I'm asking, genuinely asking. What did Willie say when he was asked if Leavitt would be there? He said we'll see.
Yeah, he gave us the non-committal smirk kind of thing,
So that means he'd probably be there.
Right. Yeah.
I would say, definitely over.
Okay. All right.
I'm going over on that, I think.
Yeah.
And if you go over too, then there was this whole exercise was pointless. So let's just cancel it.
3.5. 2.5. Send the line 2.5. I'll take the under.
For shots of Jim Leavitt?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I'll go over. Okay, there we go. That's you and me right there. I think they'll show him 3 times. Every time, when Virginia gets to 30 points, when they get to 40 points, and maybe when they get to 50 points, they're gonna swing the camera into the box. No, I do think. I think it's a really interesting story. If the Florida State defense is struggling again, which I think it will on Saturday, I think it is a really interesting. And if the game's not close in the 3rd or 4th quarter, that's something the broadcast will have to talk about. Is okay. How do you implement this guy into your staff now? And so I do think they'll show him a couple times, a couple three times.
Our guy Cleve Dog FSU 22 wanted us to talk him off the ledge, But this was before Leavitt got hired. He tweeted at me, he's back on board. 10 wins and the moon is still a possibility. So we won't dive into that one. Cleve, we appreciate you posting. How about this guy or gal, potentially? Knowles North joined in January of 2005. This is only their second ever message on warchant.com, Corey.
Wow.
Incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
Good for you.
Aslan, Corey, first Renegade Express post, long time 5-star rating. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Thanks, buddy.
I currently live in my wife's hometown of Manchester, New Hampshire. Steve Balboni, Mike Flanagan, rest in peace, and Adam Sandler started here. More towns to come in future posts. Corey, this is not a criticism or request to stop saying a certain phrase. Rather, change a phrase for the better. At least this season, quote, "it doesn't matter," has been a common phrase. From now on, you need to adjust your comment based on comedian Chris D'Elia and his impersonation of a drunk sorority girl. Aslan can probably play a short take for inspiration.
Do you have one lined up?
Was I supposed to?
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe you'd read ahead and you had this all piped up, ready to go.
Okay, let me. I found something. It's Chris. How do I say his last name?
I think it's D'Elia.
D'Elia. It's titled "What Drunk Girls Are Really Like."
Girls get drunk, man, and they don't even know what they're talking about. They think they do. Hey, guess what? You don't even know. You know what it is? It? Excuse me. Where you going? You don't know what it is? It?
Okay. You got something like that, I guess, in you?
I can't do that. I can't do that. And I will try to say, what was I saying? It doesn't matter. I'll try to come up with something better than that. Because you know what? If you're listening to me, it does matter. Yeah. You care enough about this program and this institution to listen to Wake Up War Chant 5 days a week for an hour a day on your jogs, on your morning jogs or your commute with your 7-year-old kid. Everybody in Manchester, New Hampshire, or in Russia, or all over this great planet. Maybe not great planet. This great, I'm to say great. Nobody ever says great planet, do they? They always say this great country. Let's make Earth great again. So everybody all over creation is listening to us, and so I need to make sure that I let you guys know that it does matter to me. I hope they get it turned around, right, Aslan?
Yeah, maybe you can do something in sync. Like, when it doesn't matter. All right, let's get some more of these and then get out of here. He finishes it up with, sorry there's no question this time. I just laugh every time you say it doesn't matter, as I am ready to go full Aslan Notre Dame style based on these 2 games. I need anger management classes to survive this season and the drivers in Manchester. Okay, let's see.
I guess did you ever see Manchester by the Sea?
I did not. Good one,
Holy
though, right?
moly. It's probably, and I've seen a bunch of sad movies and depressing movies, the ones that are Oscar candidates. That one might be the saddest thing I've ever seen. It was just awful. Now, great performances, great movie, good movie, great performances, but just an awful watch. It's so sad. But kids, go watch it. Maybe do that Saturday night if you don't get the ACC Network. Just line up Manchester by the Sea and watch that for 2 hours.
All right. Can we get through this in the next 5 minutes? I don't know. I'm going to try to figure out a way to say this to keep you in line. Sabaxley 12-12, first road game of the year, has him thinking about what one away game would you encourage he and his family to go see? Don't say Boise because I'm already going there next year. So I don't think he's talking about this season.
When did they play Notre Dame? Oh, they just did. So they're not going back there for another 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't remember when they played Georgia. That might be in 12 years. I can't remember when they signed up for that home and home. But I would suggest that one. That's a really cool town. I'm not just saying that because I went there. It's a really cool town. It's an okay stadium, but it's a cool campus and a cool town. Not Miami, not Florida.
All right.
Ironically, Virginia's a pretty cool place to go visit, but they're not going to be back there for another decade. I know I'm not giving you the answers you want. There's not Boston, I guess.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think of what's a cool college environment, cool stadium.
Go to Louisville one year. Go to the Bourbon Trail. Go check out Churchill Downs. Apparently, it's right across from the stadium. Check out 4th Street, the Rolling Hills, all that sort of stuff. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, in Churchill Downs, people that don't know, it's literally like on the campus. It is right there. So, say it's a Saturday night game or even a Saturday afternoon game at 3:30. You can go play the Ponies for a couple hours and then just walk over to the stadium. So yeah, that's a good one, Aslan. I'd say Louisville is probably the coolest trip out of the ones that are always on the schedule.
Harley
right?
07. Yeah, Harley 07. Good morning, everybody. I've heard the 3-4 scheme and personnel were actually Willie Taggart's idea. Yeah, I think so. That's something I've heard as well. Grumpy BK, wake up. If we beat Virginia on the road, Corey owes us a wake up. I don't think so. No,
you know what? Absolutely.
Oh,
I think hour number 2 is hour number 2 on headlines. I think is a little more sacred than the wake up.
Okay,
but that's a big deal, man. I might even do an hour number 2 on headlines. I said if they held them scoreless for a half, I'd do an hour number 2. So if they win on Saturday night, you best believe on Monday morning when you get up for your jog, you're gonna hear me do wake up. That's my guarantee to you guys. And if they beat Clemson, I don't even know what I would do. What could I do? I'd probably sing 3 songs to start the show.
Okay. George and Olds 86 this actually works out well. He does say, wake up! Do you think this is one of the biggest games of the Taggart era? Yes, clearly. As Corey just said, do you think a win against Virginia will soothe the uneasiness around the FSU program? I think so for a little bit.
Absolutely, because it puts you on a track where all of a sudden a bowl season is eligible, is doable. You would be favored in your next 2 games, and if you go through those and win those, again, you're 4-1. You're going to lose to Clemson, but you're 4-1. You're 4-2 after Clemson with a half a season left. Yeah, man, it will be remarkable how much the tone and tenor of this program and the things surrounding it would change with a big road win against an okay team. I mean, I know they're ranked, but they're not great. So if you can go up there and play well and win that game, it would go a long way to proving to your players and your fans this thing is about to turn around.
As such, Grumpy BK asks, if Florida State goes 6-6, makes a bowl game, wins the bowl game, goes 7-6, gets a good recruiting class, wins 9 or 10 games in 2020, maybe a win or 2 against a rival, is Willie validated as a turnaround guy?
That's a
really good question.
Yeah, it's a lot of hypothetical, but yeah, it is a good question. And
yeah, you're on the uptick.
Sure.
Everything's upticked right there.
Absolutely. I mean, he would have to – he's never been around long enough to see it through. You know what I mean? He'll be in a place for 4 years and then bounce. At Florida State, theoretically, he wants to be here for the rest of his career, so it's a 15 or 20-year job. So we would see what it looks like in year 6 to really validate that. But, yeah, through 3 years, if he gets them to 9 wins after 5 wins and after almost losing to Louisiana Monroe, yeah, I think that would be a pretty solid turnaround. And you have to assume the recruiting classes just keep getting better and better if you start winning games.
KT Anderson 1 joined in September of 2018. Gentlemen, I'm not really sure if I'll have a question or not. We'll have to see how this goes. I'm Kyle. I'm from Iowa. I currently live in West Des Moines, but grew up in a speck of a town called Lewis. I'm a first-time poster. So notable people from Lewis, Edwin Perkins. He was the inventor of Kool-Aid. Pretty cool. He tells us he's actually going to get dragged to Ames with his wife to watch Game Day. Game Day is going to be in Ames. What does the world come to when Iowa State is a host for Game Day? My wife's a Hawkeye, so by association, I'm told that I'm a Hawkeye fan. My dilemma, do I wear FSU gear, or will the mocking and laughing be too much? Yeah, don't. Yeah, just wear some with the wife.
Well,
wear a Hawkeye shirt.
Wouldn't it be better to wear FSU gear than Iowa gear?
No. Don't do that.
No, I'm saying if you're in Ames.
No.
Like maybe they'll be really nasty to an Iowa fan, but Florida State fans, they'll just they'll just laugh a little bit. Yeah, man. Again, like I said, I had a guy come up and make fun of I've had 2 people up here in Georgia make fun of McKinney lining up the wrong way. Just, yeah, it's not a great time to be a Florida State fan, and you have to remember people are so sick and tired of Florida State being good at football. They really enjoy when Florida State is on a down. Like if all of a sudden Duke basketball was 10-20.
Yeah.
I think people would get a real kick out of that and make fun of them a lot. So people are just enjoying the moment because they know that it probably won't last very long, and they haven't had a lot of chances to do this over the years. So they're relishing the opportunity. But no, probably don't wear a Florida State jersey.
At some point, leaders need to lead, but what happens when your leaders are the ones who are also the ones not playing their position well? That's his concern when it comes to defense. I like Willie,
you know what he could wear? You know what he could wear is he could get a garnet shirt and then just write in on a piece of notebook paper FSU and staple it to his chest.
I like Willie, but he always seems so calm. Just once I'd like to see him go all Lou Piniella and kick some dirt on someone. So to tie it all in, are you still drinking the Kool-Aid? What about if we had a little vodka? Thanks for all you do.
Oh, there you go. He did tie it in because that's where the Lewis, Iowa guy invented Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Not Flavor-Aid, which is what they drink in Jonestown. I don't know.
It's a tough line. Yeah. I think if you do see Willie go Lou Piniella, that'll be a bad sign. I think that'll be a bad sign.
Because I just don't think it's in his nature. And so if it's not in his nature, will it ring false to the kids that have been dealing with him now for 2 years? Will it ring false? I know we want to see it, and he might give it to the fans. He might show it to the fans in a press conference. Like even after the Miami game, when he really kind of got hosed out of a win. He didn't, he's like, what's the use in complaining about it? I feel like Jimbo went on and on about that call in the Clemson game from 2016 and got himself fined. And I think fans appreciated that. I think they want to see a little bit of fight out of their head coach, not necessarily a maniac, but some fight. And that's not to say he's not saying things to the referees. He just does it in a different manner. And that's more about optics than anything else. I think he gets his points across on the field. He just doesn't lose his composure. And I'm never going to say that's a bad thing to not lose your composure.
We got 90 seconds left on the program. T. McGrady 1. Wake up. Got to ask a tough but necessary question. If Willie Taggart didn't have such a big buyout for a cash-strapped school, would he already have been dismissed? What we witness week in and week out is completely unacceptable. No. You got to finish out. They'd give you a full 2 years at least, even if we were.
Yeah, no, I think so. Unless it goes off the rails. You lose to Alabama State, you're done. If you're 2-9 going into Florida, you might be done already. But no, 2 games into your second season, 1-1 really should be, well, I guess you could say you could have lost the Louisiana Monroe game, but you were up by 21 points in both games. That was something that never happened last year. Again, if you just want to look for positives, there are some. They do start better. They have a competent offense, competent to good. The special teams is better. They have shown improvement. So no, I don't think even if they had all the money in the world that he'd be gone after 14 games, because I don't necessarily think anybody that matters in the administration is convinced that it's a complete and utter failure yet, or it's a mistake yet. We'll see what it's like in November after 2 full seasons. But right now it's just too small a sample size. 14 games it's not fair. They haven't looked great through 14 games, obviously, but it's not fair to make a judgment on an entire tenure through 14 games, no matter how they look through these first 2. They might take a huge leap forward Saturday night. And if they do, everything we've talked about this last week will be moot. Or like a cow's opinion, and it'll be moo. But if they don't, then we keep the conversation going because that's where we see it heading. But teams do improve. We haven't seen it here in a long time, but teams do improve as the season goes on. And it would be cool for a Florida State team to do that at some point in our lifetimes. And I do think that, I know I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there.
Wrap it up.
There is a chance that they can do that.
Oh, I didn't really mean to cut you off like that. No, I got you. I got what you're saying. So ultimately, Corey, I guess what everyone wants to know is love going to be enough to conquer all Saturday?
People, man, again, if you don't have the ACC Network, take my advice, watch Manchester by the Sea. It's a hoot. And if you do have the ACC Network, just get behind your team. Don't wait. I was thinking about this. Don't wait for the inevitable. Don't wait for the other shoe to drop. If they get up 14-0, Florida State, that is, don't say, oh, well, they're about to give up 21 straight points or they're about to go 3 and out 6 times in a row. Believe in the team. I think that karma carries, even if you're watching it in Tallahassee, Florida, I think that karma carries over to Charlottesville, Virginia, and the team feels it. It may be, I will say this, I do think there's a chance that maybe it's good for them to be on the road. Oh, there's a lot of negative energy in Doak Campbell Stadium right now, a lot of nervous energy. But on the road, it's just them. All they got is each other. Much like the people that listen to this show. All we've got is each other. So let's put our arms around each other. Let's tell each other we love each other because that's more important than anything. And let's go out there and get a W Saturday night, guys. Let's go get a dub. For heaven's sake, it's Virginia. They don't matter in football. They've never mattered in football. Not since Thomas Jefferson was president have they mattered in football. So let's go out there and get a dub. Let's do it for ourselves. And let's do it for each other. I feel like that's the same thing, but you know what I mean. I love you guys, and I love you the most, Aslan.
Unlike fanny packs, bowl cuts, and troll dolls, the sensation is back, only at Zaxby's. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich features hand-breaded chicken, Asian slaw, wonton strips, and citrus vinaigrette, and both are served with an egg roll. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich meal for a limited time only at Zaxby's. And skip the line when you order ahead on the Zaxby's app or on Zaxby's.com.